The earthvox podcast. The earthvox podcast. earthvox podcast.
All right, we're here. I am here. You're here, theoretically. Thank you so much for theoretically being here. Usually I have something like not current events related, something fun, something fruity, something multicolored to discuss first, to just kind of ease it in gently without being overtly depressing or doomer or black-pilled or whichever term you prefer. So I was on page 6, which is like celebrity gossip. And there was nothing interesting, nothing even remotely worth your time, to be honest. But the interesting thing that I did learn, and let's see, we're over here on my Mac Studio streaming computer. This segment is not sponsored by Apple computers. Well, isn't that interesting? When I pulled it up on my phone, maybe we can do this live on the show. As you can see here on my Google Chrome browser that I'm forced to use because Riverside and my lack of a VPN, I am able to log on to TMZ quite easily. But look at this. Can you see that? Error 403. 403 error. Won't let me in there. Request blocked. We can't connect to the server for this app or website at this time. Boy, do I really want to start getting conspiratorial and depressing right off the bat. Because, I mean, what is that? Like, if you're not allowed to log onto a website because you have a VPN, a virtual proxy network that stops your internet service provider or anyone else really from spying on you, seeing what you're doing, logging your keystrokes, all of those sort of things, you use a VPN. I mean, even like really cool things, like getting onto Netflix and realizing, oh, wow, when I use my VPN, when I fool Netflix with my VPN, now I have access to all of these other shows that I can watch that are blocked in my region. I mean, tell me they're doing something good with that. Is it a benevolent purpose? No, you got to have a VPN to protect your privacy. And I think in places like China and probably Russia as well, a VPN isn't even allowed. I think they're illegal. Maybe I'm wrong. Well, why would an authoritarian state want its citizenry to have privacy, to have freedom of information? I don't think they would. Oh, it looks like Coachella is a headline on TMZ, which I'm only just finding out now because I was blocked. I was blocked for my privacy because of my privacy. Oh, look at this. Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau date night at Coachella. Justin Trudeau isn't straight, is he? I mean, I know he plays a straight guy on TV, but I mean, come on. A guy that crosses his legs like that can't possibly be interested in the opposite sex, right? Is that what our politicians are now, do you think? I'm struck by suspicious behaviors and circumstances by people like Justin Trudeau and Gavin Newsom. What are they really up to? Would it shock you to learn that they're all gay and trans? I mean, it would explain a lot about their behavior, right? I mean, maybe they're just betas. Maybe they're not dominant alphas. I mean, they're definitely controlled by dominant alphas. And a dominant alpha, I mean, I'm talking about somebody like, I don't know, George Soros. May he rest in peace. But it's hard, which is hard. It's hard to think of George Soros as a dominant alpha or Alex Soros. How about that? He's still alive. Alex Soros. Let's pull up an image. Here we go. I mean, he looks like one of the kids from The Sandlot. Is he a dominant alpha? And George Soros looks like a bag of old onions. Hard to imagine him as a dominant alpha either. So was he not? Is there always somebody behind the scenes pulling the strings? Oh my gosh, that's right. Alex Soros is married to Huma Abedin, who used to be married to Anthony Weiner of the Weiner laptop. Huma Abedin was Hillary Clinton's chief of staff while she was Secretary of State. And she is, what I think it said, Alex Soros was born in 85. She's 10 years older than Alex Soros. Not that that matters at all. I mean, but isn't it a little bit strange? I mean, don't you scratch your head a little bit when it's like, oh, Huma Abedin, formerly married to Anthony Weiner of the infamous Weiner laptop, the laptop from hell, as it's been. Am I getting this wrong? Of course, I'm always doubting myself because I guess I just learned that when you're never certain of anything, that means that you're it it's an indication of higher intelligence, which I never knew until I think just this week actually. I'm always questioning myself. If somebody asks me, "Hey, give me this information," and I give the information and then they say, "Are you sure?" Then I'm like, "Oh, no, let me look it up. I better find out." Huma Abedin's emails were discovered on Anthony Weiner's laptop in October 2016, stemming from an FBI investigation into the former congressman. Yes, yes, we're aware. But they were married, right? Yes. Thank you. Married former Congressman Anthony Weiner in 2010, filed for divorce in 2017 when Alex Soros was coming of age and she just had to get at that, right? No, I don't think that's true. But it's an interesting, uh, not literally incestuous relationship, but it's quite an indicator, isn't it? Quite an indicator. But I think it's kind of like normal human behavior, right? Royals always want to, excuse me, royals always want to marry other royals. And when that happens, things start getting weird. The gene pool starts getting shallow along with the intellect and IQ, right? And I mean, I hate to say it. I don't want to be, I mean, let me just check and see how deep into the show we are. 2, 1, boom, we're 10 minutes in. All right, we can talk about real shit. All right. They talk about inbreeding being a real problem in the Muslim community. I don't know if that's true. Okay, don't be mad. This is a thing that I've heard. And I think it's leading to a lot of the issues. It would be, let me rephrase. I mean, I think it's perfectly reasonable that I don't want to outrage the radical Muslims that are listening to this show right now, who may strap a bomb to themselves and give me a great big explosive hug while I'm walking through Walmart. So let me just say, I don't know if this is true or not, but when there is some kind of, let's say, incursion in the Middle East, in Iran, just throwing it out there as an example, and they start firing missiles in every direction, it kind of, I mean, it should make you scratch your head and go, so what is the thought? What's the thought here? We're mad and we're going to take it out on everyone around us, friend or foe. That'll teach them. I mean, this is why, right? This is a prime explanation for why we're not seeing a lot of support for Iran, although it was recently revealed that China was providing weapons to Iran, I believe. Which I think is also why Donald Trump said 50% tariffs on any country. What do we want? The Indian Express or Hindustan Times? They both support the same headline. Trump threatens China with 50% tariff if it supplies weapons to Iran. But I think it was reported last week that it was Russian weapons that were taking down American jets. Which is kind of funny to listen to other political pundits talk about this kind of thing. Like it's, I don't know. I'm so sad about Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones and Megyn Kelly. Not so much Candace Owens, because I never really found her to be a genuine person, like really authentic. There's just too many inconsistencies in her message. But it makes me wonder. I mean, like, so when Candace Owens turns against MAGA, as she has, the thing that immediately jumps to my mind is, okay, she's under a lot of pressure. She made all these crazy statements about the prime minister of France's wife, Brigitte Macron, said that she thinks Brigitte Macron is a man, would stake her career on it. A lot of people say she made that accusation because she wanted to get out of the contract that she had with the Daily Wire, which mandated that she maintain a modicum of self-respect, I guess. Jeez. So now people are trying to sue her into oblivion. So if some leftist got in her ear and said, hey, you need to turn against Trump, you need to turn against the MAGA movement, and sort of supports the fracture in the conservative coalition that Trump has built. And if you do this, Candace Owens, if you perpetuate the division among Republicans, we can influence the legal woes that you are suffering and maybe shift them in your favor. The same thing, you could make the same argument with Alex Jones, who's been sued for, like, I don't know, some cartoonish amount of money, $3 billion or something like that. Do we look it up? I have this urge How much money is Alex Jones being sued for? Or was he sued for? I'm sorry. If you're not a fan of learning things on the fly, this probably isn't the show for you. If you are, please take a moment, share the show, hit the like button, subscribe on Apple Podcasts and or Spotify, and leave me a nice rate and review. We're also streaming live generally sometime around the 11 o'clock hour on Sunday. Find the video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a nice comment. I would greatly appreciate it. Alex Jones has been ordered by courts to pay nearly $1.5 billion in total damages to the families of the victims, which violates a bunch of like civil rights laws. You're not allowed to sue people for comical amounts of money, but the judges in this case, I mean, curiously, they just didn't seem to care about what the laws or any of Alex Jones' rights, right to defense, any of that stuff. I mean, it's old news. His right. I mean, regardless of how you feel about the person, his rights were egregiously violated in this case. And there was tremendous, maybe judicial misconduct, you could call it. He has incentive also to make some changes to his message to satisfy the people that are trying to ruin him. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm not even saying that Alex Jones would do that. I'm just saying that if he did, it would be completely understandable. I mean, it's the same reason that celebrities make public statements about political issues and make complete idiots out of themselves. Because somebody says, if you don't do this, you're not going to get booked anywhere anymore. You're not going to get any more jobs. You're not going to be able to work, because the left loves to do that. The globalist authoritarians love to threaten you with your livelihood if you don't fall in line. So naturally, the efforts of the Trump administration in this country have been to fight back against the evil globalists that want to take our rights away. Right? No, we're going to the moon, baby. Actually, we're not really going to the moon. We're going around the moon. Just a little drive-by. There were plenty of jokes about that. And I missed the whole reason that it was happening, right? Did you? It was, we're going there, we're flying around. Isn't it neat? There's a lady, and there's a black guy, and there's a Canadian. We're so cool. But here's the purpose, as stated by Grok. The general purpose of NASA's Artemis 2 mission is to serve as the first crewed test flight of the Orion spacecraft and Space Launch System, SLS, rocket in deep space, sending 4 astronauts on a 10-day journey around the moon and back to Earth, a lunar flyby with no landing. It builds on the uncrewed Artemis 1 by verifying that the spacecraft's systems, life support, propulsion, navigation, etc., procedures, and operations work safely with humans aboard in the actual deep space environment. This is a critical stepping stone, yada, yada. Do you believe it? I don't believe it. I think we're already there. I think we're already building a base, and we were just dropping off supplies. I don't know. I mean, why make it so public? Why make it so public? I mean, not that it shouldn't be public, but why make it so public that, oh yeah, we're just flying around, we're just doing a little loop. We promise everyone, we promise Russia, we promise China, we're not there already. Because I mean, this is only a conspiracy for me because this is generally how it works with technological advancements, right? My favorite example that I've bring up before, but maybe not since you've been listening, was active camouflage, which I remember learning about like literally 30 years ago, maybe even longer. I'm that old. They were working on it. They had it on tanks in the field and it was going good. And we had these problems. And now we never hear about it again. Almost like the first lunar landing. We did it. We went there. We walked around, allegedly. And then we never talk about it again. I don't know. I mean, it seems to follow the vague pattern of technological advancement to me. Like all of this AI business. Oh yeah, it's just we're well, it's just we're in the fledgling stages. It's not really artificial intelligence. It's just a large language model. It's not really the real thing. Okay, but we got the real thing like 10 years ago, right? And you're just telling us about it now because you can't delay any longer. There's not there's no more time. So I don't know. I'm very suspicious. I feel like they only tell us some. I mean, because what about Artemis 1? What were the big stories about Artemis 1? I think we're probably already there and the mission was about delivering supplies or equipment. Artemis 1 probably did have people on it. But we don't want anyone to know because we called dibs. Yeah. We said dibs, moon is ours. We're here already. You can't come. We put a flag in. Oh, maybe it's Elon. Maybe it's space. Maybe it's a SpaceX. I mean, not Elon himself. It's a SpaceX crew already there. Artemis 2 was about support. But come on. I mean, that's a lot more. That's a lot more interesting than yeah. We're just checking it out. We're just seeing it. We're flying around the moon. We're not checking out the dark side. Remember the dark side of the moon conspiracy? Oh, there's only one side of the moon faces the earth. There could be anything going on the other side of that moon. Be aliens, Bigfoot, dragons, the Loch Ness monster. Could be anything. It could even be regular ass dark moon with nothing impressive. But that's not interesting. That's why we talk about conspiracy theories here. So the official story is yes, we flew into outer space all the way out and around the moon because we couldn't do it any other way. I mean, that's the part really. Like if we're thinking critical about this, do we have to fly all the way out there and around the moon to test the systems on the ship? I mean, we could have just flown around the earth a few times and accomplished the same thing. But we had to get to deep space. Okay. Because I guess as a non-expert, deep space is more spacey than regular space. I mean, really, I'm all for exploration. I just think that there are things going on that they aren't telling us. And the symbology, the symbolism. I've heard it both ways. I like them both. I wrote symbolism in my notes for those of you that are laughing at me for saying symbology. I would prove it to you. but I don't want to spoil the rest of the things that we may or may not be getting to. That's part of it. So, Artemis from Greek mythology, Artemis most commonly refers to the ancient Greek goddess of the hunt, wilderness, wild animals, the moon, childbirth, and chastity, also known as Diana in Roman mythology. Has association to the moon, often linked to the moon, her brother Apollo to the sun, sometimes called Phoebe or Cynthia, protector of children and childbirth. This is Artemis, the Greek goddess we're discussing. She roams forests and mountains, hunting with her nymph companions. She is both a protector of wild animals, especially the young, and a skilled huntress. She is a virgin goddess like Athena and Hestia. She chose chastity, symbolizing untamed freedom in contrast to more domesticated aspects of femininity in Greek culture. The famous myth, she turned the hunter Actaeon into a stag for spying on her bathing. He was torn apart by his own dogs after she turned him into a stag. She helped her mother give birth to Apollo and slew the children of Niobe for insulting Leto, who was her mother, because Artemis is the daughter of Zeus and Leto, and the twin sister of Apollo. The modern references, this is all, of course, according to Grok. This ongoing lunar explanation initiative, successor to Apollo, is named after her as the, quote, twin to the Apollo missions. It aims to return humans to the moon. Return. We never left! Buzz is, well, no, it's not Buzz. Who was the other guy? It was Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and, oh, come on. Buzz Aldrin. Oh, who were, was John. Who were the moon landing guys? Michael Collins. I was close. Mike, John. I mean, we're in the same ballpark there. Michael Collins. He never came back. He is still up there. They left him and I don't know who, what Debbie Gibson, to populate the moon. And that's been going on since 1969. I think we need to ask Grok. It wouldn't work out. Wouldn't work out, right? Because there'd be a lot of inbreeding. How many children could a couple have from 1969 until now? How long? Okay, it spans 57 years. So they could have conceivably 50 children. But 1969 was 80 years ago? 60? Oh, wait. 69 to 2009 would be 40 years. So, yeah, about 60 years. If you came here for snappy, arithmetic, this is the wrong show. I think you probably want Hassan Piker or something. Good grief. It's sure taking its time. Look, thinking. But I mean, it's going to be a comical number. It's going to be nonstop pregnancy. And then, of course, I mean, if we're talking about theoretically being the only two people up there, I don't think, and I hate to bring this up, but I don't think all of the children would survive, probably. Could have up to around 60 to 70 children if that was all they were working on. They would have had to do other stuff. Okay, so maybe we've debunked this theory. Michael Collins and Debbie Gibson. I don't know why I picked Debbie Gibson. Because she would be acceptable to Michael Collins because I have intimate knowledge of his standards. Oh, and all right, debunked. Debbie Gibson is not on the moon with Michael Collins because she wasn't born when Michael Collins went to the moon. She wasn't. Debbie Gibson was born August 31st, 1970, and of course the moon mission was July 20th, 1969. All right, what else you got? Come at me. I love conspiracy theories, and I love to know, like, when I'm getting to know someone, I love knowing what your favorite conspiracy theories are. So if you feel inclined, send me a message. I'm at earthvox on X. You can comment on this video. You could put it conceivably in a review of the podcast on the audio only podcast platforms. I don't know how effective that would be. I don't know how quickly that would reach me or if I would even be able to find it. So there is a voicemail, 701-787-1121. And an email, therealearthvox@protonmail.com. Tell me what your favorite conspiracy theory is. I'd love to dig into it. And then mercilessly judge you on the show. I'm kidding. Come on. I just came up with a really ridiculous conspiracy theory. All on my own in real time. There's no judgments here. The JFK is it the moon landing? Do you think maybe that we just didn't even go, that we just made it all up? And now and so what? I mean, come on. If you're coming from that region of conspiracy theories, what do you think this Artemis 2 mission is about? Whew. Good stuff. Good times und fun. Speaking of fascists, we've been negotiating. Right? This war was only supposed to be 6 weeks. We're at the 6-week mark. Are we not? I believe we are. We're real close. How long has the recent Iran war been going on? So Donald Trump's time is up. 6 weeks. Boom. Thank you, Grok. Approximately 6 weeks. So we have a tentative ceasefire that's been all bollocksed up by Israel, who wants to keep bombing Lebanon because of Hezbollah. And Iran doesn't like that. Nevertheless, we're engaged in negotiations that are basically all centered around Iran's nuclear program, or lack of a nuclear program. And so many people are saying, Iran doesn't want a nuke. They just want to be able to enrich uranium. Okay. Did they just start enriching uranium 7 weeks ago? And then Donald Trump was like, no, we can't have this. Nah, it's been going on for a long time. They're enriching uranium. Many nations are concerned. So they say, hey, can we just see? I mean, I've gone through this so much. If they don't want a nuclear bomb, why don't they let people confirm that they're not trying to build a nuclear bomb? Why are there enrichment facilities buried deep underground? where no one knows what's happening. Why are they not adhering to the original agreement from the Obama administration, the JCPOA, Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action? Why? Riddle me that! Why do they refuse assistance with uranium enrichment? Because they just want to be sovereign. No, because what Iran wants is all that matters to Iran. Iran. Because they do want to bomb. Use common sense. They're hiding what they're doing. Well, why are they hiding what they're doing? Because they just want their own sovereignty? No, because they don't want anybody to know what they're up to. Because they're not interested in being a friendly nation to the rest of the world. So we're trying to negotiate. The core negotiations between Iran and the U.S. have focused on the 2015 JCPOA nuclear deal and later attempts to revive it back in 21 and 22, and indirect talks over the last couple of years. Here's the major points of negotiation. And this was what was agreed in the JCPOA. Iran's nuclear limits, we want to stop them from being able to rush a nuclear bomb if they decide that they want one. Only 5,000 centrifuges, down from 19,000, or however many they actually had, which is probably what I'm sure whatever they told U.S. negotiators was much lower than what they actually have. They want uranium enrichment limited to just under 4%. They want to limit their stockpile of enriched uranium and no new heavy water reactors or plutonium reprocessing. So they want which they're doing now at their Fordow facility. And of course, they want the IAEA, which is the inspecting body, to continue monitoring and inspecting. And in exchange, the U.S. would theoretically lift the nuclear-related sanctions on oil sales and banking, giving Iran economic relief. Non-nuclear sanctions on missiles, terrorism support, and human rights would all stay in place. The major sticking points, as we've kind of already discussed, Iran reserves the right to enrich uranium domestically. Iran sees uranium enrichment as a non-negotiable sovereign right. NPT. What is NPT? I meant to look that up. What is NPT as it relates to Iranian enrichment? We'll come back to that. Sunset clauses. Many of the limits expire after 10 to 15 years. We don't want a temporary agreement. Iran wants sanctions relief, and the U.S. insists on nuclear-only sanctions and snapback. Of course, so the short explanation is that Iran just wants to keep doing everything that it's been doing. And these gaps caused the U.S. withdrawal of the JCPOA in 2018. Iran's subsequent violations and repeated stalled revival talks Recent rounds have added demands like U.S. security guarantees and broader regional de escalation. But enrichment and sanctions sequencing remain the biggest blockers. So negotiations have failed. What are our live updates here? Iran International abbreviated, so it's IranIntl.com. Seems to be a pretty good resource. I mean, as long as you don't, as long as you're not, gambling with your family's livelihood on the information that comes from it. So now, of course, as you can see, the top headline on the video streaming live on Twitch, Rumble, YouTube, and X, and available after the stream also, if you care to check in, see what it's all about. You'll be thoroughly unimpressed. Haha. The headline here, Trump says U.S. to start blockading Hormuz after Islamabad talks collapse. Interesting. Many implications here. This means that oil tankers are now heading right for the United States. Empty oil tankers. And people are saying that this was all part of the plan. Attack Iran, close the Strait of Hormuz, force people to buy their oil from the United States. Was that really the plan? Was that really the plan? Or is this just an exit ramp? Is this the way that we get out of the Iran situation? Is this how we force other nations? I mean, Trump was very upset. That NATO wouldn't join us. Of course, they're all afraid. The European nations, those nations that opened up their borders and imported a bunch of non-vetted military-aged men from the countries that finance and participate in terrorism against the West. Yeah, those European nations, the NATO nations, the ones that we, theoretically rely on in the region. Yeah, they imported a bunch of potentially violent terrorists from neighboring Muslim nations. So now they don't want to get involved. They don't want to get involved in the conflict between Israel, Iran, and the United States because they're afraid that the sleeper cells in their countries will be activated and start blowing things up. Part of the strategy to stop the West from cracking down on the nuclear programs in radical Islamic countries. And people say, this was the same tactic used by North Korea, not with sleeper cells, but a buildup of military strength, reaching a level that would make it impossible for another nation to interfere in its nuclear weaponry aspirations. So it's no wonder that they're not going to negotiate. Human life has no value to them. They want the global caliphate. This is just my opinion. The West is the great Satan. They tell us all the time how evil they think we are, how much they hate Christians, how much they hate Jews, how much they hate the West. And then they say, oh, but we just want our sovereignty. We just want our sovereignty. And if you're not going to give us our sovereignty, then no deal. I mean, really, it seems like they're saying, this is none of your business. If we decide that we want to do something bad, we're going to do something bad. And we're just, I guess, supposed to be okay with that because sovereignty. What was the MPT thing? Oh, non-proliferation words. The Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, NPT. That is the worst acronym. NPT is the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons. All right, I mean, I think like whose 12-year-old kid came up with that one? I love it. I love seeing that kind of thing in grown-up spaces. Like, yeah, NPT, what's that stand for? It stands for Treaty on Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons. Okay. It's an international pact Iran signed in 1968, requiring it as a non-nuclear weapon state to pledge not to acquire atomic weapons. It governs Iran's enrichment by requiring IAEI oversight to ensure uranium is only used for peaceful nuclear energy, not weapons. So let's see. How long ago, or I should say, who was in charge when that agreement was signed? Let's see. It's 2026, and this was signed in 1968. I mean, what are the odds? I think, like, where are you coming down on this? What's the over under? Do you think it was the Ayatollahs that agreed to this deal? Ooh, actually, it looks like that was about 11 years before the Ayatollahs took over. Isn't that interesting? Now the Ayatollahs are in charge, and they don't want to listen to the agreements. They don't want to abide by the agreements made by their predecessors. And they obviously feel no obligation. But let's not talk about this because that's inconvenient. Let's probably not talk about this either. I just had to know because it just seems uncanny that we can never come to an agreement. We can never come to an agreement when it comes to dealing with these Muslim nations. And so I asked Grok, big ask. I took a page out of the Trump playbook. How many times in the last 1,000 years have Islamic states and groups failed to negotiate peaceful resolutions? It's a big ask. How many times in the last 1,000 years? So Grok was like, but we got the last 10. The 10 most notable in the last 100 years. Starting in 1937 with the Peel Commission regarding Palestine, was the British proposal. Now remember, these are treaties that the Muslim nations would not agree to. And what is this about Richard de Lionheart? So Grok wrote, here are the 10 most notable instances, primarily 20th, 21st century, as they are the best documented and frequently cited in historical analyses. Earlier periods feature more conquests, surrenders, or successful truces, like Saladin Richard the Lionheart's 1192 Treaty of Jaffa. That's like Crusades era. Now we jump to 1937. The British proposal to partition Palestine into Jewish and Arab states, with Arabs getting the majority of the land. This is from Grok, take it with a grain of salt. Palestinian Arab leadership under the Mufti of Jerusalem rejected it outright, demanding full Arab control and Jewish expulsion. Fast forward to 1947. 10 years later, the UN Partition Plan, Resolution 181, UN proposal for separate Jewish and Arab states in Palestine with international Jerusalem. Jewish leaders accepted. Arab states and Palestinian representatives rejected it, leading directly to the 1948 Arab-Israeli War. 1967, we have the Khartoum Resolution, post-Six-Day War. Arab League Summit issued the, quote, 3 no's. I think we've talked about this before. No peace, no recognition, and no negotiation with Israel, explicitly ruling out diplomatic resolution after Israel's victory. Then we have the Iran-Iraq War, 1982 to 1988. After Iraqi forces withdrew from most Iranian territory in 1982, Ayatollah Khomeini rejected multiple ceasefire offers, including UN Security Council Resolution 598 and mediation attempts, prolonging the war for 6 more years on, wait for it, religious and ideological grounds, until Iran accepted a ceasefire in 1988. Number 5, the 2000 Camp David Summit. U.S. brokered talks where Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak offered a Palestinian state with major territorial concessions, including parts of East Jerusalem. Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat rejected it. No agreement was reached, contributing to the Second Intifada. No agreement, more death, was the resolution in 2000. 2008, we're getting into the Obama era. Olmert-Abbas negotiations. Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert presented a comprehensive peace offer for a Palestinian state, including land swaps and Jerusalem compromises. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas did not accept or make a counteroffer before talks collapsed. Number 7, the Hamas Charter and Gaza conflicts from 1988 to the present. Hamas' founding 1988 charter rejects Israel's existence and any permanent peace, calling instead for jihad. The group has repeatedly rejected or violated long-term ceasefire proposals in wars. And then it lists several years, except only short-term Hudna-style pauses, while demanding full Israeli withdrawal and refugee return. Number 8, the Taliban refusal in 2001. Post 9/11, the Afghan Taliban government refused U.S. demands to extradite Osama bin Laden and dismantle all al-Qaeda bases, rejecting negotiated resolution and triggering the U.S.-led invasion. I might call shenanigans on that one. That's what we blame it on. I don't know if that's the real reason. Number 9, Islamic State policy. 2014 to 2019, the group explicitly rejected all negotiations with governments, rival Islamists, or infidels, labeling talks apostasy and pursuing a global caliphate through conquest rather than any ceasefire or peace process. Finally, number 10, Al-Qaeda and affiliated groups, ongoing since 1988, core ideology shared with ISIS splinter factions, views permanent peace with non-Muslim states as impermissible. Core ideology shared with ISIS splinter factions. Core ideology views permanent peace with non-Muslim states as impermissible. Leaders have rejected or sabotaged talks in favor of global jihad. I mean, can we just do it one more time? Or is that, I mean, I guess I'll find out if that's stupid when I go proof this episode later. Core ideology views permanent peace with non-Muslim states as impermissible, as in not permitted, as in not gonna happen. These examples are concentrated in modern ideological or nationalist conflicts. Broader history shows Islamic states also negotiated successfully when strategically beneficial. Failures to reach lasting peace are common in warfare across all civilizations and are rarely one-sided. Yes, thank you. I will agree. There's two sides to every story. I'm not trying to, I mean, all right, I am trying to convince you. But I will just caveat. There's two sides to every story. And I'm not litigating the minutia. I'm not trying to say that the West has never done anything wrong. I mean, I've said years ago into a microphone in old iterations of this podcast that the problems in the Middle East were created in part by the West carving up the Middle East nations with no regard to culture or ethnicity or any preference from the nations themselves, from the people that actually lived there. And that's why we have all of these factions constantly at war, almost by design. I mean, you could definitely convince me. I would take no convincing, as a matter of fact, that all of this conflict in the Middle East was designed to make the resources easier to exploit. I mean, you think these people, you think the leaders of the world in the early 1900s didn't know that the earth was thick with oil in that region? Of course they did. I mean, I can't say that they deliberately designed their post World War II plans to be able to exploit the resources in that area, but it sure worked out that way, did it not? Nonstop regime change and fighting, making, well, I mean, really interestingly, the superpowers of the world have to cut deals and take sides. United States, yes, will be on the side of Israel. So we can cut deals with Israel to maintain influence in the region. We'll tell the other OPEC nations that we'll keep it cool. Just give us access. So it's not really any surprise that the message from the West is, oh, no, Saudi Arabia is cool. The UAE is cool. But Syria, no, Syria bad. Iran bad. Iraq bad. Yemen, Oman bad. Those are the bad guys. These are the good guys. Why? Because we say so. And then look how interesting it is that Russia and China, well, they say Israel bad, the US bad, the West bad, but Iran good, Syria good, Yemen good, Oman good. Isn't it very interesting that these are the nations that seem to always be at war with each other. Iraq and Iran went at it. Iraq was good. Remember when the United States was installing Saddam Hussein in Iraq, he was the good guy. He was supposed to take a friendly position to the West. And that was a positive for us because, oh, now we have access to all those resources. Iraq wants to use the dollar to trade oil. This is a great thing until they don't want to. And then goodbye, Saddam. Goodbye, Gaddafi. You really screwed up. You didn't abide by the terms of the agreement. So now it's time for you to die, I guess. It's time for you to be unalived. And what a mess. It's just problems that we make for ourselves. I mean, it's a meme at this point. Today's allies are tomorrow's enemies. Yeah, we gave them all of these bombs and guns, weapons, intelligence, technology. We did all these things to help the good guys. And then, oh, we're just like a decade later, they're the bad guys now. So where do you come down? What should we be doing right now? Leave the radical Islamists alone? Like Brittany? Leave Iran alone! I would love to. Love to just not even worry about it. Do you really think that we can't? Do you really think, based on what we've covered, based on what our common sense tells us, if we never intervened in the Middle East, would it just be fine? Would they not be bombing us? Would they not be trying to build nuclear bombs to kill our kids? Would they not be extorting us by charging $2 million per ship to move through the Strait of Hormuz? I mean, I suspect when I heard that news that Iran was agreeing to open up, I mean, this was per the negotiations, right? They open up the strait peacefully, let all the traffic through. To which Iran then responds, "Oh yes, and by the way, $2 million in Bitcoin per ship, paid to whatever the IRGC or whatever governing body of Iran still exists," which was unprecedented. I mean, never before. Never before was Iran trying to charge tolls on movement through the strait. I wonder if that was their plan from the beginning. In my research, it seemed to be a kind of common tactic. Somalia, Iran, other nations that are controlling trade routes. They say that the Strait of Hormuz was the only real global leverage that Iran had. Along with their military buildup, seeking to sort of gain, I guess, I don't know, sovereignty. No oversight, no objections from any of the other nations in the area. I mean, it's so bizarre to me. And maybe this is all Western propaganda. But it seems really bizarre to me that there's no allies running to Iran's defense. And they're having to tell all these other countries. I mean, and what a surprise. Oh, hey, you've launched missiles at all of these other nations, and now they don't want to help you out. But they're just trying to manipulate everyone around them. You do this, or we're going to do something really terrible. Big shock that it's not working out for them. Or it's all just Western propaganda, and we're not hearing about it. Also, equally believable. I wonder how long the blockade is going to last. I think it depends on how willing the other nations in the area will be to sustain the blockade. Because the U.S. pulling out of the area, the U.S. establishing the blockade, and then saying, all right, it's on you guys. I mean, like, my immediate thought is, okay, well, then all of the power goes to the radical Islamic nations. Because it seems to me that the West in Europe, totally cucked. No spine. No dominance. No masculine alpha male energy. I mean, Keir Starmer, Emmanuel Macron. Are they going to stand up? They already refused. So that's what Trump is putting on the table. And maybe that's the ultimate plan. I mean, the reason that these Western nations didn't want to come to the rescue, they didn't want to come to the aid, not the rescue, they didn't want to come to the aid of the United States, is because of what a jerk Trump has been about their contributions to NATO and the UN and their own defense agreements, their willingness to contribute defense spending. So I wouldn't be surprised if Donald Trump establishes this blockade, gets the other nations to participate, and then says, okay, we've got plenty of oil for ourselves. The West, our hemisphere has plenty of resources. We don't need to be involved. You're responsible for policing the Middle East. You're responsible for neutering the threat of radical Islam. And we're out. You guys are dicks. You won't help out. You won't pay your fair share. You rely on us to do everything. And then after we do, you won't help us when we ask. So we're out. Good luck. I don't know. Does that seem like a Trumpian thing to do? It kind of does to me. Because it seems like Trump, DGAF, if you get that modern millennial Gen Z acronym. It'll be interesting. There will be a lot more to come. There will be further developments next week, so you got to get back here. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Thank you very much for joining me. The numbers have been going crazy, and that's all your fault. I could not have done that without you. So thank you again so much. Please seek me out online. I am at earthvox on X. That's where I'm the most active. I would love to hear from you, if for no other reason than it would just allow me to personally thank you for your support. I mentioned the voicemail. I mentioned the email. Find the show on Rumble. Find it on X. Find it on YouTube and Twitch if you must. Find it on Apple Podcasts. Find it on Spotify. Subscribe and share it around as much as you can. I really rely on it. And I thank you for having done so to this point. Don't stop. Don't give up. We're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it. Again, the email address is therealearthvox@protonmail.com. I promise I will not exploit any of your information that I come by coincidentally or otherwise. And the same goes with your phone number. Actually, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this. The voicemail phone number doesn't actually transmit your phone number to me. Since it's all anonymous, the numbers that come through to me are not your phone numbers. So even if you did choose to leave me a voicemail, I would not have your phone number. I would not be able to contact you after the fact. For those of you that are thinking about doing it, but a little suspicious of this random wacko on the internet that wants you to call him, yeah, you're safe. You're safe. I thought of it. And I just want you to know. I'm not trying to scam anybody here, man. Yeah, Big Lebowski. Classic film. All right. We're out of here. Send me that voicemail, 701-787-1121. I'll be back.